I wasn't planning on talking about this. I didn't really think it was that big of a deal when it happened, but it's kind of become that. At least, not necessarily pertaining to the series, but in public conversation. I like these kind of topics, so we'll go from here. I think everyone's aware of the coughing incident between Dwayne Wade and LeBron James before Game 5 after shoot around. They saw the cameras there. They started coughing, talking about how they were getting sick. A clear shot at Dirk Nowitzki or reference to Dirk Nowitzki being sick in Game 4. And of course, that's gotten a lot of media scrutiny because for most people, it's not that it was some horrible thing like they did the most terrible thing in the world, but the problem people have with it is that they're doing it. One, they're doing it about a guy who's destroying them in the playoffs right now. Dirk Nowitzki has been amazing in these finals, and in that game where you could definitely tell that he wasn't at his best that game. He still got 21 points and still scored the winning buckets to beat them that game. In another comeback win for the Dallas Mavericks. Gutsy performance by Dirk, and you could clearly see. But I think what people get upset is that you're doing it, but also not only doing it to a guy that's killing you, but doing it to a guy that doesn't trash talk, that doesn't he never said he's been criticized. Nowitzki's been criticized in the media and amongst players for being too passive, for giving too much credit to other teams. I remember back during the Golden State series when he was giving credit to certain defenders on the Golden State team, and people were ripping him for that. They're saying superstar should never say that. A superstar should never say that a guy can guard him or that a guy has success against him here. And so when you take shots at Nowitzki, it's like, why? There's no reason to. But I get it. It's just two guys jacking around. They're two being immature and just making a joke. So that's that right there. But of course, we now have, and when I saw Nowitzki's response to this, whenever someone asked me about it, I liked his response. I think his response was spot on. But I knew this would come up, and there's been a video that a guy, and I'll post it here, and I'll link this to it as well. And I knew this was coming right when I heard it. Not from most people, but from saying, and this isn't the only guy. I've seen comments and things of this sort about this, but just that the fact that now Dirk Nowitzki is some kind of a pseudo racist or has some kind of his tone and his words have these racial overtones to it. So that he's been because he used the words childish and immature. And so many people, or some people, are jumping to the conclusion that because Dwayne Wade and LeBron James are black, and and even nowadays, people that are racist are trying to bring down African Americans, they call them immature, childish, try to give them childlike names and things of that sort, to act like they're not actual members of society, contributing members of society, that kind of thing. So when I heard that, I was like, "Dadgummit, we're gonna have to deal with this." So the guy who made this video, and like I said, I'll post the video up here, and other things have said. Many people are saying that Dirk Nowitzki is now being heralded as the great white knight for the NBA, since there's not many white great players, and so he's going to be put up on more of a pedestal because he's a white guy. But here's the actual quote that Nowitzki said, because I think people keep pointing out that one part of it, which I think was spot on, because he wasn't talking about their skin color or their heritage. He was talking about the act that happened. When asked about what happened, Dirk Nowitzki responded, "I just thought it was a little childish, a little ignorant. I've been in the league for 13 years. I've never faked an injury or illness." Then he goes on to say, "It's over to me. It's not going to add anything extra to me. This is the NBA Finals. If you need extra motivation, you have a problem. So we're one win away from my dream, what I worked for half of my life. This is all I'm really worried about. This is all I'm focusing on." He was talking about the act. I think it's childish. I think it's ignorant. But it is true, though, and people point out that those are strong words from Dirk Nowitzki. Childish and ignorant, talking about grown men, is strong. But I don't think he was doing it because he doesn't like to get made fun of, that Dirk can't take a joke. What made Dirk so mad, and this is just me speculating, but I think that what made Nowitzki so mad and upset to actually say that, because Nowitzki doesn't call anybody out unless he calls his own teammates out, but he doesn't call the players out on their teams out. Is the fact that what he got from it was that they were insinuating that he was faking it, that he was faking being sick, or what he was kind of putting on, that he was being, he was sick maybe a little bit, but he was really just egging it on, and even Wade has put on, he said something along the lines of, what did he call it? The fun-loving story of him being sick, talking about Nowitzki. So it's clear that Wade definitely didn't like that whole storyline and whatnot. Nowitzki, because right after he says that, he talks about that I've been in the league for 13 years and I've never faked anything. Nowitzki, because he doesn't have that abrasive persona, he doesn't really talk a lot of trash. He's really laid back. People may not get the sense that this is a true competitor. And when a competitor feels like you are talking about him and saying that he is soft or that he is faking an injury or something like that, that's going to get to him. And that's what brought those out of him. And I was surprised that he said it, because I'm glad he said it, because those two guys deserve to be called out on what that is, because these are two guys who were part of a celebration before the season even started that really irked a lot of fans and a lot of players in the league. And many people in the league, players in the league, black and white, felt that was childish, felt that was way too premature, that you need to actually earn the ring first. Now, this video has nothing to do about that, now the Mavericks are definitely going to win the series. Dallas could definitely lose this series. LeBron and Wade and Bosh, all that team is great. But what I don't like is the fact that now that Nowitzki can't defend himself against this without it becoming a race issue. That even though him and Jason Terry and Tyson Chandler and guys like that are friends, that he respects those guys. And of course there's animosity between him and Wade. I remember back in 2006, Wade called Dirk out after the series, saying that he didn't lead his team right, and it was his fault that the Heat were able to come back. And in the next playoff series, the next All-Star game, the two did not shake hands. They had a definite issue with each other, and I think a lot of that stuff's probably coming back. It's sports. That's what happens. But I'm going to come defend the defense of my guy, and I know I'm white, but I'm doing this mainly because I'm a Mavericks fan. I don't like the fact that because a white guy comes out and responds to something that happened to him or something about him, and because he has strong words about it, it can't just be him saying it's two other men. It has to be the fact that it has to be pointed out that he said it's two black men. And to me, that's not right in that sense. Why can't it just be two groups of people having a disagreement or not agreeing what it is? But why do you have to go deeper than that to make that he has some kind of subconscious racial element to his words? Because that's wrong about this. And that's not just one. I'm not talking just to one person. I'm talking to a lot of people out there. So I don't really like to see my guy's name dragged through the mud. A guy who's never shown any of these kind of tendencies like that. Nowitzki's been nothing but an ambassador of this league, and as has Wade and LeBron. Like, these aren't bad guys. Like, yeah, that was a stupid joke, and we hadn't liked them in the series, but these aren't bad guys. None of these guys are so horrible, but some people are going to go that way, and most people aren't. But I feel like I need to come out and say something about that and defend Dirk Nowitzki in this instance. I think he is right. I think it was childish and ignorant for them to do that, and especially if they're trying to insinuate that he was faking. That's the main part that I don't mind that he was making fun of him, but the fact that they're kind of insinuating that he was faking it, that bothers me too. I'm glad Dirk stood up for himself. I'm glad he stood up for his team, and I hope this team can take this motivation. But like Dirk said, this is not going to be a factor in this series. Both teams are motivated just as much to win a final championship because there's a championship on the line, not because it's off-court crap. But it is fun to talk about, and it is an issue that we're dealing with right now. So, go Mavs, Dirk, keep it up. And we'll see you guys after Game 6. Hopefully, the Dallas Mavericks taking home the Larry O'Brien trophy. See you guys later. Go Mavs.